Morning guys, happy Tuesday to you. I hope you had a great weekend. This is the video for Autodesk Inventor to create the cow catcher. Funny name, cow catcher, because it really doesn't catch cows. What it really does is pitch them. It's a cow pitcher. Farmers didn't like that name though, so they decided they'd call it a cow catcher. A little more politically correct. Didn't scare the farmers off. In essence, they should have been scared off though. If you take a look at this, okay, looking at this design here, I'm going to refer to the house a couple of times. You can see that the top of this cow catcher kind of has a shape of an upside down house. All right. And along with that, we can see that this would be 1.2 inches long this way with two lines that come up 0.25 inches and then come to a point here. And we can see here that that point is 0.75 inches from the base. That's the first thing that we are going to create. So what we're going to do here is start a new design, start a new standard IPT. We're going to be creating this with two sketches and we're going to loft between the two. So we're going to turn everything between the two sketches into a solid material. Okay, so I'm going to start with a new sketch. Put it on the XY plane or the front view. And I'm going to start with a line and I'm going to make it on the horizontal plane. And I'm going to make it 1.2 inches long. I am then going to dimension it from the center point here to the edge to be half of that distance, which half of 1.2 is 0.6. So that puts us into the center there. Coming back up to the tool ribbon, I'm going to create a line. Go straight up 0.25. Going to right click, restart. So I can restart my line over here. Go up, straight up 0.25. Click OK. Now I've still got my line attached here, so I'm going to go up to the center and come back down to the end of the other line. And I'm going to dimension from the center peak to the base here. And I'm going to make that 0.75. Okay, now just to make sure I didn't get off center, I'm also going to dimension it from the peak to that line. And yes, it's 0.6000000 inches, so that's 0.6, it's in the middle. I'm going to click Finish Sketch there. Okay, now I'm going to create a new offset sketch. So I'm going to click on Sketch. And I'm going to click on the XY plane and I'm going to hold my mouse button down. I'm not going to click and release. I'm going to click, hold my mouse button down, and I'm going to move it towards the left, and then I'm going to type in 0.75. What I have done here is accommodating for this distance right here. At 0.75. I drew this small house. Now I'm going to draw the bigger one and I'm going to make it solid between the two. So I can see down here that the width of the bigger house is 1.8, but it still has walls that are only 0.25 tall, but it's 1 inch to the top of the peak. All right. So if I click on my home view here, you can see that this sketch is offset from that. So I'm going to go back to the front view, click on that, and I'm going to start with a line. Oops, before I do that, hit escape on the keyboard. I'm going to project the geometry, some of the geometry from this sketch number 1 over onto sketch number 2. So I'm coming up here to the project geometry tool, and I'm clicking on the 2 walls and the line. Come back to the front. Now I'm clicking on the line, starting over here to the left of the walls, going past that, and I'm going to type 1.8, enter. So now 1.8 minus 1.2, 0.6. That means I need 0.3 sticking out on each side. So I'm going to click on one of the walls, click on the end of the line, and I'm going to make that 0.3. That's centered it. I'm going to click on my line, start at the end here, 0.25, right click, restart, come over to this end, straight up, 0.25, enter. Now I'm going to come up here to the center line, click there, come back down and connect with the end of that line. Now I'm going to dimension from the center peak down to the baseline, and I need that to be 1 inch. 1. Enter. To make sure that's in the center, I'm also going to click on that line, come up to the center peak, bring it over here, make sure that that's 0.9. I'm going to click finish that sketch. This brown square, which signifies that we have a work plane there, bothers me. I don't know why, it just does. So I'm going to come over here, right click on that, and click on the visibility to turn it off. Now I'm going to come up here to the tool ribbon and click on Loft. When that opens up, I am going to come over here into the left side model browser, and I'm going to click on Sketch 1, and I'm going to come down here and click on Sketch 2, then click OK. Oh, you have to kid me here, right? Autodesk just crashed. Okay, so because I did not save my work before I started, when it crashed I lost the entire thing. So I had to come back, make it all over again, and then jump into the video. Hopefully this edit works out okay. The next thing we need to do is to create the shell feature, which is to hollow this all out from one side. Looking at this sectional view, we can see that it is 0.10 thick, typical wall thickness. Okay, so we're going to come up here to where it says create, or modify rather, and we're going to choose the shell feature. And then it wants us to remove faces. We want to remove the bottom face. We want this thickness to be 0.1. Click OK. Now you can see that this is like a cup. It's open face at one side and then hollowed down, but all the walls are the same thickness here. Okay, the next thing, I call them the windows, but you call it whatever you want here. These little panels right here we have to create. It shows that it's the same shape as the outside, but the distance all the way around the edge is 0.10. So the tool that I'm going to use in order to do this, well, first let's do one thing at a time. Start new sketch, click on that face, and then we're going to use this offset tool. And we're going to, oh no, first we got to project the geometry, I'm sorry. Come over, click on that surface, and you'll see the yellow lines all the way around. Then we can come over to offset, click on that existing geometry. Let me go back and do this again. Delete. Delete. Okay, now click on the offset and it just drags itself in automatically. So I want to type in 0.1 and it sketches equally all the way around. I'm going to finish that sketch. Come over here to extrude. I'm going to click on that, but I don't want to add, I want to cut. And I want to cut that 0.05. When we look at this image, it shows us right here 0.05 typical thickness in there, which is half of that wall thickness, so it does not go all the way through. Next thing I'm going to do is come over here and rotate this so I can see this other side. And I'm going to put a sketch on here. Again, project the geometry, click on that surface, come back for our offset, click on that line, move it in, and type in 0.1. Finish the sketch, extrude that piece. Make sure it's cut, 0.05, click OK. What we have is our cow catcher minus the 3 pins. And there's some more geometry that's got to go into it for this, but I'm going to leave that for tomorrow. So we're done for the day. Let's click File, Save. I saved it as cow catcher. And that's it. Take a picture and send it to me, please.